Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be setting up my onboard air system on the Jeep. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it all in one video, so I probably will break it down into separate videos. Let me show you what I'm doing today. Okay, so the workbench is a mess. I actually started and then realized, oh crap, I didn't film yet. So just to get you up to speed, all I've done, I put one nutsert right here, removed that bolt, I took off my horn right now, and that's about it. Pop the hood. So, what I have is an ARB Dual air compressor. Put my sticker on there, look at that. I do have the optional Manifold kit. I have an ARB air tank, 1 gallon. You don't need to do ARB, you could do Via Air or any other company. I just wanted to keep it all matching. I have the metal cloak under the hood mount. Wiring harness, I am going to be connecting it to my S-Pod, so I bought their adapter for this. You'll see a few fittings here, barbed ends, and quick disconnects. Let me explain what I'm going to do. The main plan is to put the dual ARB compressor right here, and I'm going to run a line to the back of the Jeep to the air tank. So I'm going to run it along the floor here or up in the roll bar. I'm not decided where I'm going to do it. And the company that I had told you guys about, MPAC Springtail, that makes this rear drop-down table, I got their rear cubby units that will fit on both sides. So I'm hoping to put the tank up there, run the line through, and have a quick disconnect right here. At least that's the plan. So let me get to work on this. Like I said, I'm going to probably break this up into a few videos. So the first video is what I'm going to be working on right now. Just installing the dual ARB compressor, running it to my S-Pod source, and being able to power it right from the switch. After that, once I install the optional Manifold kit, right here is the hose that's going to be running to the back of the Jeep. I do have that Air Zenith air gauge that I did in an earlier video, and I put it in the S-Pod. So it'll finally register, I'll put that on and get the pressure of the whole system once it's all said and done. Alright, so if that's what you're into, stay watching. This is going to be a dual ARB compressor install with the metal cloak mount for this video, just to give you guys a better view. So with the metal cloak mount, you have to drill out this hole right here a little bit. I have a nutsert tool. If you don't, it comes with a bolt and nut that you could screw in and press it in. I did it nice and easy with my tool that I have. And what we're going to do is you have to mount the compressor on the mount before you put it in here. But what I did was I test fitted, and let me see if I can get you an angle there. On the brake booster, see, can you see that? There's a plug, that bolt right there with the number 4, it looks like, written on it from the factory. That bolt is a 13mm. You're going to loosen that up, and part of the metal cloak bracketry, this piece right here, will slide on there, and it's an extra support. So you have the two, well, got it facing the wrong way, sorry. So you have this bracket that's going to be facing the back of the Jeep, will fit right on there, and then these two holes will go over the nutsert and the factory bolt. Let me put this on and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Just to show you a test fit, line up the holes on this side, and then the extra bracket, can you see it there? Hang on, let me get you an angle. See that? It rides down this left side and then goes under and hangs off of that bolt right there. So this is just a test fit. You do have to mount the compressor to this mount before you bolt everything down. I believe the horn is going to go on this back hole here, because we had to disconnect the horn. And the manifold is going to go there. Compressor goes on the upper 4 with the air intakes facing the source. Okay, so where the mount goes, there's a hose coming off the brake booster right here. It comes up and it makes contact with it, and you could bend it down. I just didn't like the turns and the kink that it was making. Right here, there's a factory loop for some reason, and it looks like a perfect spot to run this hose with a zip tie so that there's no kink. It'll just be a nice round thing, and that's what I'm going to do here. Let me just show you guys. Okay, so you can see here much better. It'll curve around, loosely tied, and goes forward, so that shouldn't be an issue. Easiest way I found to get the mount and the compressor to mate. Flip the compressor over, put the mount there, and you can just insert the bolts right underneath. Okay, so the compressor is on the metal cloak mount. Now is a good time, if you are installing the optional manifold kit, to get that put on and lined up the way you want. I'd rather have everything installed on my bench before I get it to the Jeep, so as much as I can put on, I will put on now. I have the fitting for the line that's going to go from the compressor to the manifold. I have a air line, which is 50 feet. It's a Husky 1/4 inch by 50 foot nylon air hose. Very cheap from Home Depot. I think it was like 14 bucks. It's plenty of line. It's more than I need. That's already in there. And I have the Air Zenith pressure gauge switch. It's going to be in there also, so that I can run that back to the S-Pod. Let me get this bolted up and get right back with you. After putting some Teflon tape on the fittings and tightening it down, this is what I got so far. Also, don't forget, these are 10 millimeters here. There's one on each side. That's so that the manifold doesn't rotate, move too much. Right now it's still a little loose, but you will have to tighten that up just to make sure nothing else moves. I'm a little worried that I'm not going to have clearance for this on this side. I should have put it over here, but we'll find out. I'm going to go test fit it now. We'll see how it works out. So with some choice words and some persuasion and you know, blood, sweat, and tears, the metal cloak mount is very, very good. It mounts almost flawlessly, and it's almost too good, and that's why I had an issue with it, trying to line everything up. I got a little battle scar here. I have some touch-up paint. The main issue that I'm having that was unforeseen was this connection right here. It's a little too high. I lowered the hood ever so gently and put it down on it, and then I wanted to see if it would fit. I put a little dent in it. So what I did, I took my rubber mallet and I bent the end down right now as sort of a quick fix. The hood does close now. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is head over to Home Depot or Lowe's, and I'm going to get a fitting that will go on here at a 90 degree, and I'll connect it sideways just to completely make sure that nothing else further happens. A little bit bummed about that. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to connect the wiring harness to this and run it along the top to the battery, and I am going to figure out, here's the ends here, I crimped them, put a little bit of tape. I'm going to figure out how to use the ARB harness in conjunction with the S-Pod. There it is, the S-Pod harness that I purchased, so that I could just run it off of the S-Pod itself. Basically, the power will come still from the battery, run over it, and it's just going to use the S-Pod relay to turn it on and off. Home stretch. Let's see what we got going on. Okay, guys. For the wiring harness part of it, pretty straightforward. You got 2 positive leads, 1 negative. They go on the terminals of the battery. If you remove the engine cover, what I did was I zip tied the fuses facing the battery this way. I figured in case there's ever an issue, I could just get to them right away. Nice and easy. Put a zip tie on this side, one on the other, and with the engine cover removed, you could just tuck the wire loom underneath the factory one and go right across. Here, I'll show you what I did. And then there's a little bit of a cubby right next to the brake booster. I just tucked it all back down in there, made one solid connection, and I will tuck it right behind the fluid there. And now I have this other connection that came with the wiring harness for ARB. Now this you would use if you want to wire in your air lockers and stuff like that. Since I do have the factory Rubicon, I'm keeping the E-lockers for now. So rather than cut up this harness and splice into it and just make the compressor turn on and off and lose the ability to add air lockers in the future, that's where the S-Pod connector came in. And I'm going to wire this up and run the air off the S-Pod. But later on, if I ever desire, I have the ability to run air lockers off of it as well. Let me show you. Okay guys, bad news. Well, bad and good news. So this would normally conclude the install of a dual ARB compressor. What I did was, before filming the final cut, I wanted to just run the wire to the S-Pod, test the compressor, make sure I have no leaks thus far before continuing on. Everything seemed to be going okay until I turned the compressor on, and I heard a loud leak. Now right away I checked my connections on the line to see what was going on with it, and it turns out my actual ARB manifold, which is brand new, just installed, has a crack in it. I'm going to turn the compressor on. It might get a little loud, but you'll actually see moisture. Let me see if it'll fit. Right there, you see that little hairline crack? It's going to get loud for a second, but this is what I'm dealing with. Sorry about the sound, guys. I should have given you guys a warning. Oh. So yeah, that stinks, just to say the least. It's a real pain to get to once it's in. So it looks like all this has to come out to correct the problem. I'm not looking forward to that. You know what? It is what it is, you know. These things happen. That's why I film these. Run into encounters, run into problems along the way, and try to fix them. For now, what I might do, I might disconnect the whole manifold itself and the airline going to it, and I'll just run the airline from here back until the part I need comes in. It's a shame. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching this episode. Hopefully the next one's a little bit better. It sucks.